Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast, a deep dive into all things Disney Vacation Club. We share tips, tricks, and insider info, helping you make the most of your membership. Join us for the latest news, reviews, and interviews with DVC experts and enthusiasts. Whether you're a seasoned DVC member or considering your first contract, this podcast is for you. Now, here are your hosts, Mike Hurley and Gary Arruda.
Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. This is episode 26, recorded in the D. Fauntleroy Recording Studios in Sarasota, Florida, and Cranston, Rhode Island. I'm your host, Mike in Florida, joined by my cousin and co-host, Gary, up in Rhode Island. Good evening, Mr. Arruda.
Good evening, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well.
What's happening in your neck of the woods?
Not much. Just getting back into the swing of things. Another cold front on the way.
Yeah. My voice is a little off. I was at the UConn game yesterday, screaming my head off.
Oh, you cheer? Like you actually still cheer?
Yeah, you're not supposed to cheer when you go to games.
No. When you get to a certain age, you don't cheer. No.
What do you just sit down on your hands the whole time and nod your
No,
head?
no, you don't necessarily have to sit on your hands, but you just sit there.
I can't yell at the refs.
No. You can't be a homer.
Oh, okay. I'll take that into consideration.
Yeah, you
forward.
No, you can't be screaming and cheering and stuff. You look like a clown.
Oh, I am a clown.
Well, you are a clown, but you're like a fanboy, and you're probably wearing like all your UConn nonsense.
Yeah, that's what you do when you go to a game.
No. You get to a certain age, you don't wear the page.
This is coming from a guy who wears his Riviera shirt when he goes to the Riviera.
That's right. Well, that's different. I even said that. I told Kristen, I said, that's what I went from that sports fan to I wear the Riviera shirt when I go to Riviera. That's correct. When I go to Topolino, I wear my 3-button golf shirt. Topolino's.
It's like when you go to a concert, you're not supposed to wear the shirt of the band you're going to see.
I don't know about that. I just know for sports,
yeah.
I don't. What am I going to wear? A Vinny Testaverde jersey? That's the only.
Yes, that'd be fantastic.
I can't wear that.
It's different. It's different when you went there.
I don't know.
Part of my blood's there at UConn. Anyway, we can get into it. You had some news you wanted to talk about? Some DVC news?
Yeah, there's some DVC news out there.
Would you like to?
What do we have?
To broach the top?
Moonlight Magic, right?
Yeah.
So Moonlight Magic.
Yeah. So I've never done one. You've done a couple, but you registered for the California one, and you got invited to 2 back here.
Yes, that's right. I've been to 3 total now.
So you didn't register for either of the ones at Animal Kingdom.
That is correct. Yep,
you
you're right.
weaseled your way into those.
Did not weasel my way in.
You were invited.
I am a podcast professional, and in lieu of somebody sending me hard cash or joining our Patreon, joining our Patreon page,
oh boy,
what?
I said, oh boy. All right, yes. So you didn't register for those.
No.
However, now going forward, there will be some restrictions on registering for these events. It used to be you could only go to one
park, I believe,
per park per year.
That's right.
So theoretically, you could have gone to like 4 or 5. Now you can only go to 1 per season. No matter what.
That's right.
So they now have only 3 seasons, which is strange. Winter, spring, and summer. So I guess they don't do any in fall technically.
Yeah, I thought September. Well, maybe not.
I mean, September 1st is still summer on the calendar.
Right,
summer
on the
ends
calendar.
Like September 22nd. So, unless they just haven't announced the fall dates yet, is it possible they'll have more coming up at the end of the year?
Potentially.
Because the one you went to was in December, right? Animal Kingdom?
Yeah, it was. It was early December. Yep.
Both times.
It was before.
And they had
it was
one
actually during the association meetings, right?
Yeah, so they just might not have announced their fall ones yet. So let me just go by this here. So it's obviously it's a perk of direct owners, the Moonlight Magic, and it's free or included. I never say free because it's not free. It's included in your membership. It's a perk of the membership. It's an after hours, an exclusive event to one of the Disney parks or water parks. And it happens, I guess, looks like about 10 to 12 times per year between
they've
California.
actually increased it quite a bit. I remember at the association meeting that Joe Quattrochi and Angry New Phil Jr. went to. They had said that they were going to add a few, and which they did.
Yeah.
It's a great event.
Yeah, you seem to really like it.
It's a great event. It's definitely something that we got to somehow figure out how to get you guys into, because it is just, there's just nobody at the parks. It's such a great way
Yeah.
to roam around.
So, you get a better chance if you have a room booked
Right.
than not. You can still register
Yeah, they
without
will
having
open it up to the general public after the fact, but
but it usually sells out to people that
yes.
have their rooms booked.
Yep.
Previously, it was limited to one event per park per year. Usually, it's at 5 different places: Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, Typhoon Lagoon, and California Adventure. So under the previous rules, you could have gone to 5 in a year.
Yeah.
If you
Theoretically,
happen to be in
certainly could,
California
yep.
at the right time or whatever, yes.
Which we were.
Yeah, that worked out for you. That's funny how that worked out. And then now they have it split up into the seasons, so you can only go to one event per season. So right now, for what they have announced so far for 2025, there's January 26th, so coming up soon, there's a Hollywood Studios one. Then there's February 3rd, California Adventure, and then February 12th, the Animal Kingdom. So you could, if you could get into one of those, you could only sign up for one in that winter group, even though in previous you could have technically done Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. Now you can't.
Correct.
The spring events are Epcot April 30th, and then there's 2 Typhoon Lagoons, May 20th and June 9th. So either one of those 3 you could do. And then in the summer, there's Epcot July 17th, Typhoon Lagoon August 11th, and Hollywood Studios September 1st. So now, if you have a quick finger and you're able to get into them, the most you could do is 3, 1 per season. And the new policy reads on the DVC website, please note that in order to allow as many members as possible to enjoy Disney Vacation Club Moonlight Magic, members are eligible to register for one event date during each event season: winter, January, February; spring, April through June; summer, July through September, regardless of whether your registered event date was confirmed during early registration or during general registration. So they updated that policy, which I don't really, I mean, it doesn't affect me that much anyway, but I don't have a problem with that. I think it's fine if they want to get more people a chance to do it. They always sell out.
Yeah, the other thing that I heard, and I don't know if it was mentioned in this article, was that you actually have to be staying on points, where in the past you could be doing a cash stay at Pop Century or
Oh, okay.
any other resorts. But I don't see, I've read the article, I don't see where they said that, so I don't want to confirm nor deny that.
Yeah, because it didn't differentiate. You didn't have to be using your points. You just had to be a member staying. But we'll have to look into that further. What do you think of the change?
I love it. Love it. Because you'd have the same people who went all year, and you'd have people who said that they've never been to an event. You've got to allow. I'd be happy if they even made it more difficult to get in.
Yeah, almost like if
you get to go to one a year.
Or, like, let's say you try to get into one and you miss it, like, you're first in line for the next one. You have, like, right of first refusal for the next one.
Yeah, they've got to do something, because it's not something that, we're planning our trips around when we want to go. We want to go in the slow season when the kids are in school. and we have lower points that we have to use at these resorts. So that's strategically how we plan our vacations. With that being said, like I would maybe once a year do an overnight just so that we could go to Moonlight Magic because it's just so amazing.
But
It really
also,
is.
like, let's say you were gonna go in July, and you were saying, "Oh, let's look at like the 10th through the 13th," and then you say, "Oh, there's a Moonlight Magic on the
Yep,
17th. Let's just push it
exactly.
back a week."
Yes,
You would do that,
exactly.
especially with you guys being more flexible because you're driving, you're not flying in, you don't have to plan it as far ahead, all
Right.
that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, I think they could definitely institute like a right of first refusal for people. Kind of like how in your member guest, if you get shut out the year before, you're guaranteed a spot
Right.
for next year.
Now,
So if you're staying and you got shut out the last time, if you tried to register and you didn't get in, I think they should put you at the front of the line for the next one. I think that would be fair.
my question
Mhm.
is, do you think this is gonna be part of the, paid to play subscription that they have right now?
Oh, so, like, if you join that $99 thing, you get pushed to
Or
the front of
next
the
year
line.
when it's jumps up to 150,
Yeah.
$200?
I'd also be okay with that
I would
because
too.
I don't have a problem if they're gonna start doing the subscription, then they gotta give you something for it.
Right.
Like, right now, unless you're buying the points, the one-time use points, I don't find that subscription necessarily worth it.
Now for
Uh,
me, I think being able to jump to the front of the line to go into the lounge, because the lounge is something that I'm gonna use, probably
yeah,
not necessarily something that you're gonna use with the kids, 'cause if you're at the parks, you're at the parks, and
right.
if you need a break, you're going back to the resorts, so you're probably not gonna utilize the lounges the way that
No.
Kristen and I do.
But how often does that even is that an advantage? Like, the Epcot lounge I know gets a little
Well, the
crowded.
the advantage is that you skip the line, and there have been times where there was a 20 minutes to a half hour wait.
Oh, okay.
So if I can check in and go right up or only wait 5 minutes, that's advantageous to us.
Yeah. My question is, though, the people that use the lounges are gonna be the ones that pay this. If everyone who uses
Yeah,
the
that's true.
lounges pays this, then you don't really skip any line if everyone's doing it.
That's true.
That was the problem with the Lightning Lane, it's kind of the same thing. It's not priced high enough where it's gonna like, anybody who I feel like a lot of direct members are gonna buy this. The people that go and that use the lounges and stuff are gonna take advantage of the nights
Sure.
because there's some good perks, like the
Yeah.
Photo Pass one, if you don't have that, that's a good perk.
Oh, of course, yeah, it's a
The
great perk.
lounge thing, if you got a ton of points, even the discounts on the annual or using points for your annual pass is a nice perk if you have a buttload of points, like some people do. Um, yeah, front of the line for Moonlight Magic would be
Yeah.
a good perk to add, or like get one guaranteed.
Or just something like that, sure.
It's like, guess what? You're going to California. um,
And that, by the way, that was by far the best Moonlight
oh
Magic we've been to. That was
yeah,
ridiculous.
I'd like to see the Epcot because with the food vouchers and stuff, the
You're right,
Epcot
you're
one's
right.
pretty good.
Epcot's on my you know what's pretty
Typhoon Lagoon, right?
yes.
That's the
And
one.
that's a completely different perspective. Being in the lazy river with the music
Mhm.
going on, it's just dark.
Also, there's nothing I like less than waiting in line for a water slide.
Right.
Even like the stupid one at Beach Club. Like if there's 8 people in front of me, I'm like, "What the heck? This is the worst." I
Yeah.
like just hate standing in there with the
Now
wet.
you could whack out every single water slide in,
Yes.
what would you say, 45 minutes?
Yeah,
Easy?
maybe an hour
Maybe an
and a half.
hour?
Yeah.
And then you just hang out with the DJ, you get a drink or 2
Yeah, do the wave
because 'cause you're not
pool, do the
driving,
lazy
you do
river.
yes. I
Yeah,
think that would be a blast, don't you think?
especially with the kids because they like the water slides and stuff. For sure, I agree with that.
And you know what sucks? And I love the heat is being there when it's 2 in the afternoon, and you gotta put a
Yeah.
hat to protect your grill because 'cause you'll get killed out there
Oh, yeah.
in just an hour or 2.
And the sun, like, reflects off the water, so you get, like, that double
Mhm.
sunburn in
Right.
the sometimes. Yeah, so I don't mind the restrictions, and
No.
I didn't see too much belly aching about it. I think people understand. It's not that restrictive, really. So no one was doing 5 different ones anyway. Like,
Right,
how many
except for a
people?
lot of the locals.
But the most they could do is 4 because they probably weren't going to California for
Yeah,
that one.
that's true, that's
So
true.
now you go from 4 to 3 if you can get into it. That's not a big deal.
No.
Plus, you could do the same park twice now.
Yeah,
If you really
theoretically,
like,
depending
if you
on
really like the Hollywood
season.
studios, you just do those twice now. So it might even be an advantage for
I
some
think
people.
Epcot would be a blast. I gotta try to get into Epcot.
Yeah,
Even
that sounds
Hollywood
good.
Studios, because now you can do the rides that you and I aren't going on.
Yeah.
Because we're not waiting 2 hours, and we're not paying a lightning lane.
Right, yeah, like, I'd do Rise of the Resistance if it's a walk-on,
Absolutely.
even though it's not my favorite. Tower of Terror, I haven't been on that in so long,
Mhm.
but I would
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I'd
something
love to.
because the girls don't wanna go on it, but that's something that you could just walk right on,
Yes.
and they could, go get a soda or an ice cream over at quick service right outside of
Yeah,
it.
they'll go ride Mickey and Minnie's 3 times, and I'll go on Tower of
Yeah,
Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster.
yeah.
Knock it out, or Muppet Roller Coaster, whatever that thing's gonna be. Um, yeah, so I'm okay with it. I'd love to do it. I'd still like a way, and I don't think they'll ever do it, like you said, because it devalues their resale, um, is being able to buy into the perks, like, for
Mhm.
non-direct members. Like, if they had that membership thing and it was $250 for
And then you can
non-direct, and
but
then
then you would become a Blue Card member.
yeah,
Like, you could be yeah, you said to be able to buy into the Blue Card.
which doesn't make sense. They won't offer that. It doesn't make any sense for them to offer that.
No.
But what do you think a good price point would be if they did?
To buy into the Blue Card?
Yeah, because there's good perks.
I mean, what you do like Moonlight Magic. Like,
I
this
like
is
the
something that you
concept.
definitely wanna do, don't you?
I wouldn't plan a trip around it. If it happened to coincide, I would 100% try to get it.
What would the price tag be?
Because if you think about it, for my family, I would save I could save $2,000 a year on annual passes if I did annual passes every year with the blue card, because it's $500 less for that sorcerer pass or whatever the thing is,
Oh, okay, so you could save 2,000.
just on that,
So
just on the
what
annual
you're
pass.
saying is basically you're getting more benefits than I am being a local, because I can get the cheap pass as a Florida resident where you
That's
can't.
true. Yeah, true. So if I could buy into, like, even if it was $500, it's still worth it for a family of 4 to buy the blue card, and then you get the discount
Yeah.
as well, but you get that with the annual pass, so that doesn't help you know, if you're doing both, it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I wonder what I mean, they're not gonna do it, like I said, it makes no
I'll
sense.
never do it.
That's the only differentiating aspect of it.
They like sticking it to resale purchases where I disagree with it because I think personally, um, it devalues all the properties. I think you want to be best friends with resale purchases. It's not your fault that you didn't. You're not going to buy Saratoga direct
Right.
for another $75 a point. It's insanity.
Now, I'm okay with them doing, like, no discount, no annual pass, but I don't think they should do the restrictions on the properties,
No,
because that hurts Riviera owners, it hurts Disneyland hotel owners, it hurts Fort Wilderness
Fort
Cabins
Wilderness.
owners.
Yeah,
Because
I mean
if you
it
try to
helped.
sell a
It
Fort
helped.
Wilderness
Yeah,
cabin contract, that's gonna be worthless on the resale I haven't seen one.
we haven't seen one because they haven't sold any.
Right.
I mean, if you're not selling any direct, you're not going to see any on the resale
No,
market.
that's true
I
too.
mean, honestly, I mean
Yeah.
the best thing for us were the restrictions because we wouldn't own at Riviera right now. Not at 160 or $170 a point. So
Right.
it worked out in our because I'll never use it. I don't care about I'm not going to stay at Saratoga Springs on my Riviera. I
Yeah, but if
can't and I wouldn't want to.
all of a sudden they took away the
Well, I'd love it because I bought it at 110, but if they did
that's what
take
I'm
it
saying.
away 6 months ago, I would have never bought that contract is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it would have been higher. But
It
they
would have been
might,
way higher.
in theory, they could remove those restrictions at any time.
And I think they will. I
I
honestly
think
think
they
they
will too.
will at some point. Do you?
Because Yeah, because the Riviera gets killed because of it. It
And
kills
so
the
does
resale on that
Fort
one.
Wil-
Fort Wilderness is dead because of it.
Fort
If you buy
Wilderness is
direct
dead.
there, and everyone, obviously a DVC guide is not going to lead with, oh, you can always sell it. But if you're savvy enough to know that you can sell it and it holds its value, but then you look and you say, who the hell is going to buy this thing resale and they can only stay at Fort Wilderness? Now, when that
At
other
the,
thing opens, it's going
especially now at the cabins.
right.
Now it's still,
When
I'm
that
sorry.
other property opens, they're going to lump them together. That
Of course
senses
they are,
it.
because
Yeah.
me and Ken were talking about that, and he said, "What do you think?" I said, "They're lumping them together." I said, "Because I said the annual dues went down
Yeah.
for the cabin, so they know that in 2 years they're lumping them together, and they're all going to offset each other."
Right.
And I think that's a great I love the property, but as far as just buying into the cabins as a sole thing, I would buy a 50-point resale just so I could go up there and take roadie and do a hoop-de-doo or
Yeah.
whatever, but I'm not solely buying into those cabins. I mean, that was a terrible product from day
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Not smart. And they're not selling them.
They're not selling them at all.
Right. Because then you come in with the poly tower, which is under the old rules, and that's way more appealing on
Of course
multiple
it
levels.
is. Of course it is.
And you could stay at the cabins if you do it. So even if you wanted to stay at the cabins, you're better off buying into the poly tower.
Yes.
Because the price isn't that different. The dues are way less.
I mean, if I were to buy, especially like, now that I own, I could get in small. But like if somehow you were grandfathered and you could get a 50 pointer, I would say buy 50 buy 50 at Poly
Right.
and get the blue card. It's a great contract. It's a great contract for you guys with your kids. It's a nice property. I wouldn't buy 150 just because I don't really care for it that much.
Yeah.
It's not a place that I'm going to spend. I could see myself spending 2 or 3 nights a year, but I'm not going to spend a week.
Well, the
year
good
there.
news for you is 150 points gets you about 2 or 3 nights a year over there.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're staying in one bedrooms, especially. But regardless, should we move on to the next topic at hand?
Yes, sir.
We wanted to talk about the point transfer rules. Looks like DVC has relaxed their policy on transferring points between members. So now you can transfer banked and borrowed points. Used to not be able to do that.
So what was that? You could now transfer banked and borrowed.
So before it used to say banked or borrowed home resort vacation points may not be transferred. And then the
Okay.
updated language says allotted, banked, borrowed, reservation, and holding points may be transferred. So let's say something happened and a bunch of my points went into holding and you could use them. I could transfer them to you. You could use my points in holding because it's hard. Those are like you have to book them within 30 days or something. Is that how hold? I don't even
30
know.
or 60 or something like that. Yes.
So let's say you could use those points. I had like 80 points that were in holding. And you said, I have
And you're
something.
screwed because by the time you book something, you might have to fly down tomorrow.
Right. And you
where
say,
I'm more flexible. Right.
and you can use it. So I transfer those to you. You transfer me 80 points back that I can
That's
use
more
anytime.
flexible for you guys. Right.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. And then you can only do one transfer per use year. However, I guess if you have multiple use years, you could do multiple transfers, which you used to not be able to. It was one transfer per membership. Now it's one transfer per use year. Again, I don't foresee transfers being a huge thing.
No.
But more flexibility is good. I'd rather have that. And it's also great. Like let's say you knew somebody that banked a bunch of points and they're still not going to use them. So they got like 2 years worth of points sitting there and they know they're going to go and they can transfer them to you where they couldn't have. They were just going to lose them before. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. So
So when you said one per use year, so I have June.
Mm-hmm.
So they say I banked 150, borrowed 150, and I have 150 for my use year. I have 450 points at the Grand Floridian.
Yes.
You're saying I can transfer all 450 points?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
At one
one
time.
transfer. Yeah. That's my understanding. And you used to not be able to. You could only do the current use year.
Okay.
Banked and borrowed would not work. So like if you're trying to I don't know how that affects much. I don't know a lot. Do people like sell transferred points to people?
That I don't know. I
I don't
haven't
really
heard
know
many podcasts talking about that.
because there's obviously you book reservations for people, but if I just wanted to sell you my points as a rental one time, one time. But
One time, I did that a couple times yesterday. One time.
but like say I wanted to transfer you 200 points because I wasn't gonna be able to use them and they were gonna expire. Would you like be able to market that to somebody and just say, "Hey, give me $15 and now it's $3,000. You get those
I'm sure,
200
of
points."
course, I'm sure you could.
I just don't hear about that. I don't know
You
if that's
don't
like a
know.
sketch of your side. I don't know what information you need from the other person. Obviously, most rentals go to non-members, I would say. So that doesn't work that way. That's interesting though.
Yeah, it is.
And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, do you have any other thoughts on the transferring of points?
No, I just don't know. I think the only way we would do it is if we're going to do like a cottage at Vero. And we're doing it because we'd all have to do it at the 7 month because none of us own there.
Right, but we're
And I'm
splitting. So I give you it's 300
right.
points. So I'm
So
going to
instead of be
throw
like
you
you booking
100.
a night and me booking a night, we just say, I'll just send you
Yeah,
60
150,
points or whatever, and
whatever
we'll
it
do
is.
it. But then you're going to be able to use those. Like if you were to book it with your Saratoga, now you're going to have my 60 Grand Floridian points that you're going to be able to use at the 11 month at the Grand Floridian
Right, or at Riviera at the 7 month.
or at Riviera at the 7 month. You're right.
So that's a nice thing with transferring. Like if you're booking somewhere and I want to book at Riviera, or let's say I'm going to California and I want to do the villas at Disneyland Hotel,
Mm-hmm.
you could transfer me the points also. It's easier because we're a family that you would just book it and I
Yeah,
could
just do the reservation and just put you guys on the reservation,
and
of
just
course.
transfer you the points at
Right.
that point, but instead of going back and forth. Yeah,
It
no,
just goes to show there's so much flexibility. This is such a nice product, isn't it?
yeah, and anytime they add more flexibility, it's even better. And that's why I think you see these little changes. I think they're gonna do going back to that restriction. I just don't see the resale restrictions sticking around.
I don't see it. I just don't see it because they're not selling. Riviera should have been sold out by now. That is a gorgeous property.
And it probably would be if they didn't have
It
resale
it
restrictions.
would be. You're exactly right. Because I remember I was talking to a girl. I was already working with a guide, and I just had a couple questions, and I was talking to the people at the booth. Oh, let me get a guide. So I'm talking to her. I'm like, look, I'm not buying with you. I already have somebody that I'm working with, and I don't want to be a jerk. So she's like, well, what are you looking at? Riviera? No, I'm looking at the Grand Floridian. How come? Well, I just don't like the resale restrictions. You're not going to sell this contract. Obviously, she was green. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, they say that the average is after 7 years. We're all selling these contracts. Or they're going into deeds or they're going to your kids, and your kids are going to be like, I don't
Right.
want this. I can get $200,000 for this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's eventually leaving the estate. It's just a matter of when,
Yeah.
And I think Riviera is just a tough place to buy. When I bought it at 110 and it's selling for double, and the only issue is there's resale restrictions. Okay, I'll just use it to stay there.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
It was just so hard to sell at resale though. I can't imagine Riviera resale contracts are getting nabbed up very quickly.
And the
Because
funny
of those
thing is,
restrictions.
It's tough to get. People aren't selling this contract because for a long time there were 6, 7, 8 contracts in
Mhm.
June use here. There's only been 2, and it's been 2. There hasn't been anything new. People are not selling this contract right now because they're getting killed on the resale market.
Well, that and in theory, there's not as many out there. It's a newer
Right, there's
resort.
not as many out there, but I'm saying when I started looking at a resale contract 8 months ago, there was a lot more than there are
Mm,
now, and they're
yeah.
selling a lot. There's a lot more direct that have been out the door than there were 8 months ago.
Mhm.
So you're having more people who are looking to sell, and I just don't think I think they're at a point where, if I have to sell, I might as just well rent the points
Yeah.
through one of those third parties because to sell it for 110, I'm bought a contract for 32, I'm selling it for 15. I'm screwed.
Yeah. It's not even paid off. You're still making payments on it
Yeah, you
like a
might
lot of
if
these
you have a
people.
loan like a lot of people do, like
Yeah.
you're screwed. Now you got to take a loss. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and if you're savvy enough and you know, like, all the deals, renting Riviera rooms is gonna be easier than renting others because not as many people can book them.
Right. Yeah.
So you
No,
just
it's a
book.
great I've looked online. You can get some mint. I thought about doing it. The one bedroom, the standard view, you can get some good cash on that.
Yeah, Tower Studios, those are highly sought
Tower
after.
Studios in September.
Yeah. So, yep. But like I said, more flexibility is better ultimately, and I think they kinda realize that. Last thing I wanted to talk about was the newly refurbished Bay Lake Tower rooms.
Yeah, you got all excited the first look you got, didn't you?
Starting to see some pictures and videos of the new
Yeah.
rooms, and you wanted some time to digest.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on them?
Here's the deal. I don't like the tower. I just don't like the curvature. I don't like the aesthetics of the room because
Okay.
some of the rooms are smaller, some of them okay.
They're
With that
definitely
being said,
small.
yeah, they're on the small end.
Yeah.
Um, especially the studios are
Yeah, they're
tiny.
very small.
With that being said, there's nothing you can do about that. That's the building, that's what you had to work
Yeah.
with. I think they knocked it out of the park. I think these refurbs are absolutely gorgeous. You look at their sister resort next door. I mean, we've talked about that
Yeah.
a number of times. We don't need to get into it. Oh my god, with the Space Mountain,
I love that.
it's so subtle, isn't it? It's so
Yeah.
subtle
And it
on
fits
that
the
sleeper
theming.
bed. Oh, it's just
But they went like that one extra step.
mhm.
They put in that like egg chair, like that mid-century modern style like chair.
Yes.
Like
That
when I
still
saw
coulda
that,
come out of the '70s.
yes, when I saw that, I said, "This is
Yes.
perfect." It looks like a
It's
Jetsons chair.
yes.
They didn't have to do that. They
They
could
are
have put a
freaking
regular ugly chair there,
they
and they
could have.
didn't. Yeah,
They're
you know?
killing these refurbishments.
And they have, like, a orange, like, ottoman, I think, or, like, a teal, like, those colors that are very
Yes.
unique to it.
Very '70s, '80s into, like, the late
Yeah.
'80s.
Even the kitchen has, like, a really, like, bright greenish blue, like, backsplash in
Mhm.
there in the 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms and stuff. No, I like it. I think they did a good job, and obviously now you have the pull-down Murphy beds, which is great. Um, much needed. Those things were showing their age for sure.
Yeah, they really were. That place got beat up.
Um, you can't beat the location either. I
No, the
know, like,
location.
we're not Magic Kingdom homers like some people. Like, I'd rather be at an Epcot area
Mhm.
resort, but I don't know, something about if you have a balcony on a higher floor looking out over Magic Kingdom or over Bay Lake, that's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
it's hard to beat that.
And I agree with Phil. I love that Bay Lake view.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
said
yeah,
that you get up in the morning and have coffee and they're taking the boats, all the modes of transportation
mhm.
through Bay Lake. That's awesome. And, we joked years ago before we owned DVC, oh, big deal. You can walk back to your resort. We can't do the buses. We've talked about that. We can't do
Mm.
these buses anymore. And if you're coming back walk into the Contemporary and you get off an attraction and you're like, yeah, we got 11 minutes until we get back and we can have some lunch and either sit by the pool or grab a nap.
Nice.
That's nice, isn't it?
It's a nice perk. That was the best thing about Beach Club, that back entrance to Epcot.
Oh, how nice is that?
It's the best. Like, we
You
just
just
would go in and
vacation
out.
differently because you're going to
Absolutely.
Epcot for an hour instead of 5 or 6.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, you can go in and have lunch and just leave.
And just leave.
If you're staying at the All-Stars, you're not gonna take a bus to have lunch in Epcot and then turn around and wait for the bus again and go back. That's a 4-hour event.
Right. And then in a few years, your kids are gonna be getting to the age where they don't need adult supervision.
Right.
And the 2 of them might say, "Hey, Dad, we wanna go run over to Epcot and grab some lunch and go on a couple rides." And you're like, "Yeah, go have fun. I'm gonna sit by the pool or
Mhm.
whatever."
So
But
one of the
I'm sorry. I love Bay Lake Tower now.
Yeah, one of the other things I really like about the refurbishment is the rug. They put, like, that area rug in there,
Mhm.
and you're right, 'cause the Murphy bed has I'm just looking at some pictures of it. The Murphy bed has the castle on it, and then when you pull it down, it has Space Mountain
Right.
as the background artwork.
Yep.
The kitchen looks like a '70s kitchen, which is great. Even the chairs at, like, the island are nice. They did a good job.
Yeah, I think
I
they
was
did a great
I
job.
was a little worried, but I think they did a really good job. Especially, like you said, after the main building with the Incredibles stuff. Could have been very sketchy, but they did a good job.
It's amazing how DVC listens to their members. We don't want over the head, knock us down Disney crap.
Mhm.
I don't mind the Murphy. I don't mind the beach club with Donald and his nephews.
Right.
I don't mind Boardwalk, where you can tell that they're on the boardwalk. You can tell that they're at the boardwalk pool. I don't mind IP. I don't want it smacking me over the head.
Bashing you over the head, yeah.
Right. And I think if you look at all the latest refurbishments, Contemporary we love, Saratoga we both love.
Mhm.
I haven't stayed at Boulder Ridge, but I think they did a great job with that refurbishment.
Oh, it's nice, yeah.
I
It's
think
very
what they're
nice.
going to do at Copper Creek is going to be amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're gonna
they've
put the
just been
Murphy beds in.
really killing these refurbishments. Hilton
I
Head,
agree. Yeah,
Vero
I
Beach, it goes
the one
on and on and on.
I wonder the Animal Kingdom one, how that's gonna be, the Kidani, because that one's well overdue as well.
You know
That
what, too? And that is a place that needs to be Marriottized, as they call it. You
Yeah,
know, the neutral colors, that is a place that I think is too dark, and I think it needs to get a little lighter. Like,
it
I
is
don't want Grand Floridian light, but it needs to be a little lighter.
it is too dark, but it also has a lot of personality with, like, the carvings and things like that,
I
and
agree with you, yep.
I don't want them to get rid of that either, and just put, like, a Pumbaa thing on the Murphy bed and call it a
Right.
day. There needs to be a happy medium.
Yeah, they gotta be careful with that, because that's a very unique resort.
Mhm.
Very unique.
So I think they can be less they can be a little more out there with that one, I think.
I agree with you.
Hopefully they do. But even I'm just looking at some pictures of Bay Lake. Under the TV, you know, they have the bed that drops out under the TV. While it's up,
Yeah.
they have a picture of the A-frame with the monorail coming out of it.
That's what
Like,
I was thinking of. I wasn't yeah, I thought it was
which
Space
is
Mountain. No, it's the A-frame, yep.
which is great, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Space Mountain's on the pull down. No, it's
Boy, and
fantastic.
what
The
they did
colors.
with Steakhouse 71 and going back to retro with all of Walt's original likings, like, if
Mhm.
they didn't destroy the rooms at the A-frame, that would
That
be
resort.
such an amazing resort, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because the shopping's great in there.
Shopping's great, food's great,
Outer Rim's great,
amenities are
California
great, you
Grill.
can rent
Yeah.
boats there. Oh, good lord.
The pools are pretty nice. I know and I think the DVC pool, only the DVC members can use it, right?
I believe so, I've heard that as well, yes.
The Bay Lake Tower pool, you have to have the Magic Band to get in. So, I don't have anything else to add. Do you wanna add anything else about the refurb or any other DVC
No.
news? All right. Why don't you bring us home then?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at DVC Addicts. Email the show info@addictedtodvc.com and join our Facebook group, DVC Addicts, for my cousin and co-host Gary up in Rhode Island. I'm Mike in sunny Sarasota, Florida. Thanks again for listening. Talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. We want to hear from you. Email us at info@addictedtodvc.com and follow us on all socials at DVC Addicts. We appreciate you being a part of our DVC community, and we'll see you again on our next episode. Thanks again for listening, and welcome home.